If one looks closely at the tapestry of human history, few threads gleam with such a golden, enigmatic light as that of ancient Egypt. It is a world that whispers to us from across the millennia, a civilization that rose from the desert sands and achieved a grandeur that continues to astound. For thousands of years this kingdom flourished, creating wonders that have withstood the relentless march of time. We are drawn to its stories of powerful pharaohs, cryptic hieroglyphs, and monumental pyramids that seem to pierce the very heavens. The allure is undeniable, a pull toward a time when gods and mortals seemed to walk hand in hand along the banks of a sacred river. The story of ancient Egypt is not merely one of stone and gold but deeply human, a tale of innovation, belief, and an extraordinary understanding of the world. They charted the stars, developed complex systems of writing, and engineered structures with a precision that still baffles us. Even after centuries of exploration, new tombs are found, texts deciphered, and our picture of this civilization keeps changing. Join me as we travel back through the corridors of time. We will navigate the Nile, stand in the shadow of the pyramids, and attempt to understand the lives of those who built this extraordinary world. We will uncover shocking, little-known secrets, and reveal a civilization far more complex than often imagined. To understand ancient Egypt, one must first understand the Nile. This magnificent river was the absolute center of their existence. It was far more than water. It was a god, a calendar, the very foundation of their civilization. Each year the river would swell, flooding the banks and depositing rich black silt, a gift that made agriculture possible in an arid land. This fertile mud was the secret to Egypt's prosperity, allowing crops to flourish beside desert dunes. The Egyptians divided their year into 3 seasons: Akhet, the inundation; Pere, the growing season when the waters receded; and Shemu, the harvest. This predictable rhythm provided a stable food supply and enabled culture and statecraft to develop. Beyond agriculture, the Nile was the nation's highway. Trade, communication, armies, and massive stone for building moved on its waters. But the river could also be perilous. Too high and villages were swept away, too low and famine followed. The Egyptians learned to live in delicate balance. They engineered canals and dikes to manage floods and extend the river's reach. The Nile unified the kingdom and allowed a centralized government to rule vast territory, binding myth, economy, and daily life together. At the apex of this river-bound society stood the pharaoh, more than a king, a living god on earth. He was the earthly embodiment of Horus, the chief priest, commander of the army, and ultimate judge, charged with maintaining Ma'at, truth, balance, and justice. Enduring symbols of that mission are the pyramids, not merely tombs, but purpose-built resurrection machines to ensure the pharaoh's journey to the afterlife. They were designed to secure eternal rebirth and cosmic order. The Great Pyramid of Khufu, c. 2560 BC, contains over 2 million blocks, some weighing up to tens of tons, moved with astonishing precision and no modern machinery. Such projects required organization, resource management, and mathematical knowledge, a national undertaking. Once thought built by slaves, archaeology reveals skilled, dedicated laborers housed in organized villages, well-fed and proud of their work. How they lifted and aligned colossal blocks remains debated. Massive ramps, levering systems, and ingenious surveying are all part of the story. Whatever the methods, the pyramids stand as a silent testament to pharaonic ambition and human ingenuity, physical manifestations of the quest for eternity, when humans dared to build mountains. While the pharaoh stood at the pinnacle, the engine of Egyptian civilization was powered by millions of unseen hands. Priests and priestesses were custodians of temples, places of worship, economic centers, and seats of learning. They were scholars, astronomers, and healers, powerful advisors to the pharaoh and community leaders. The majority were farmers, laborers, and craftsmen, stonemasons, carpenters, sculptors, and jewelers who fed the nation and created its art. Many farmers were conscripted during the inundation to work on pyramids and temples. Community service tied to religious devotion, supported by rations and organized camps. Graffiti and graves show a workforce taking pride in skilled labor, not nameless slavery. Perhaps surprisingly, Egyptian women held relatively high status, managing households, raising children, and often depicted with dignity and art. They could own property, run businesses, inherit wealth, sign contracts, act as witnesses, and even initiate divorce. Some rose to the top. Hatshepsut ruled in her own right, and figures like Nefertiti wielded significant influence alongside their husbands. Daily life in Egypt was intertwined with art, religion, and the written word. Art, religion, the written word. Each formed the fabric of existence. A vast pantheon controlled aspects of life: the rising sun, the flood, and the cycles that sustained them. Ra, the sun god; Osiris, the lord of the dead; Isis, the mother and magician. Gods were present in homes and public festivals. Egyptian art is deliberately stylized, figures in composite views to depict an eternal, idealized reality rather than a fleeting moment. Wall images and inscriptions functioned as magical provisions, ensuring food, hunting, and feasting continued in the afterlife. The key to this world is hieroglyphs, for centuries a mystery until the discovery of the Rosetta Stone. With Greek and Demotic parallels, scholars finally cracked the code, unlocking the voices of the ancient Egyptians. Scribes recorded decrees, religious texts, grain inventories, and even personal letters. Writing underpinned religion, administration, and daily life. Beyond monuments, the Egyptians possessed surprising medical knowledge. Surviving texts like the Ebers and Edwin Smith papyri mixed spells with practical observation. Physicians were renowned and recorded diagnoses and treatments for digestive problems, skin disease, dental issues, and traumatic injuries. They showed an understanding of anatomy and the heart, employed splints for broken limbs, and performed simple surgical procedures. Bronze scalpels, forceps, and saws were among the instruments used. Remedies included willow bark and perhaps opium poppies for pain, a pragmatic pharmacopoeia alongside ritual cures. They understood dental problems, draining abscesses, extracting teeth, and even binding loose teeth with wire. Technologically, they invented papyrus as a lightweight writing surface and black ink from soot and gum, innovations that preserved texts for millennia. They developed cosmetics like kohl, practical and antiseptic, and became skilled astronomers who based a 365-day calendar on observations like the rising of Sirius. Geometry and surveying were essential after the floods, and for precise construction, mathematics formed the invisible scaffolding of their civilization. These intellectual achievements supported everything from agriculture to architecture and astronomy. For all the knowledge we've gathered, nothing reignited global fascination like the discovery of Tutankhamun's tomb in 1922. Howard Carter stumbled on a hidden staircase in the Valley of the Kings and opened a tomb largely untouched for over 3,000 years. What he found was extraordinary: sealed chambers, golden shrines, intricate furniture, chariots, and the iconic solid gold death mask. The discovery provided an intimate look at wealth, ritual, and craftsmanship, and it became an international sensation. Tutankhamun himself was a relatively minor pharaoh, but the preservation of his tomb sparked a global wave of Egyptomania and renewed scholarly and public interest. Each object, gilded sandals, painted panels, games, and furniture, told intimate stories of daily life and royal ritual. But the legacy goes deeper. Architecture, calendars, astronomy, medicine, and mathematics influenced Greek and Roman thinkers, and even modern monuments from Paris to Washington, D.C. Our 24-hour day and 365-day year trace intellectual ancestry to Egyptian timekeeping and star observations. Ultimately, ancient Egypt speaks to our deepest desires: the quest for meaning, the desire for permanence, and the fascination with life and death. When we look at the pyramids, we see a civilization that poured energy into defying mortality, and in doing so, found a kind of eternity. Their culture, beliefs, and achievements have not turned to dust, but continue to echo through the ages, inspiring awe in all who take the time to look and listen. Thanks for joining this journey through ancient Egypt. Keep exploring and keep wondering.